Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Martial Universe Season 9 Part 68 based on novel. So let's start. The light pillar descended from the sky. Within that solid prison-like glowing column, General Lang Mo's body was surrounded and entwined by black lightning chains. These chains seemed to have penetrated deep into his body and hooked onto his bones. Many black glowing lightning symbols continuously surged from these chains, before they finally entered his body and suppressed his monstrous-like demon aura. The light pillar that shot directly to the clouds gradually shrunk at this moment. Finally, it turned into a 100-feet large light pillar prison. For spiritual figures lingered over walls of the light pillar. At the same time, the black lightning chains were extended and connected onto the light pillar, forming a perfect cycle which completely sealed General Lang Mo. Hovering in the sky, when Tang Xinlian's group saw General Lang Mo being sealed, a relieved smile appeared on their pale face. Soon after, they were unable to hold on any longer as their bodies began to show signs of collapsing. The huge fight previously had exhausted almost all their energy. Those 4 armies from the Flame Divine Hall all fell onto the ground at this moment. Many Flame Divine Hall's disciples also became extremely weak because their yuan power was depleted. Bang bang. General Lang Mo was still struggling manically within the light pillar seal, and it looked like he was howling in rage. However, his voice could not escape. It was clear that it was difficult for him to escape after having his demonic chi sealed. Tang Xinlian's pretty face appeared exceptionally pale. Although she was also extremely weak, she still forced herself to stand. Subsequently, she began to issue orders in an orderly fashion and instructed the 4 armies to take turns to rest. The other top experts in the Flame Divine Hall also used this opportunity to recuperate their yuan power under her orders. Countless individuals outside the Flame Divine City were somewhat shocked as they stared at the Flame Divine Hall army which whizzed across the city's sky. Shock surged in many of their eyes. Even powerful individuals from established and famous factions in the chaotic demon sea had admiration-filled eyes, as they stared at that bright and enchanting figure. Tang Xinlian might not be the strongest expert in the Flame Divine Hall. However, during that astounding fight, she was obviously the #1 reason why Flame Divine Hall was able to seal that abnormally powerful fellow. The Flame Fairy of the Flame Divine Hall truly lived up to her reputation. Everyone quietly exclaimed within their hearts. Although the glory during the previous competition was undoubtedly snatched by Lin Dong, Tang Xinlian was the most dazzling existence in this even more frightening battle. With her as their successor, it seems like the Flame Divine Hall did not have to worry about its future. Moreover, Tang Xinlian was also extremely talented. Hence, given enough time, she would definitely become a top expert in the entire chaotic demon sea. At that time, if Mo Luo retired and passed the blazing ancestral symbol to her, it was likely that she would become a domineering Flame Divine Hall queen, whom no one would dare underestimate. Tang Xinlian held her Fire Phoenix spear and stood in midair. When she heard the overwhelming cheers and praises from outside the city, she was slightly startled. Immediately, she lowered her head to look at the young man below, who had dragged his equally tired body to sit at a corner and rest on some of the rubble. The latter lifted his head to look at her as well. Promptly, a brilliant smile appeared on his face as he gave Tang Xinlian a thumbs up. Even someone like him was convinced after witnessing Tang Xinlian's performance. When Tang Xinlian saw Lin Dong's brilliant smile, her pretty face reddened slightly. She knew that Lin Dong had put in an equal amount of effort into this fight. However, the latter did not step forward to claim the glory, which would allow his name to be renowned across the chaotic demon sea. Instead, he sat quietly in the shadows and gave all the glory to her. He knew that the result of this big battle would solidify her position in the Flame Divine Hall. In fact, it would even be of great help to her when she takes over the Flame Divine Hall in the future. This man was indeed a little special. Tang Xinlian gently bit her red lips while a mysterious feeling flashed across her heart. Soon after, she felt her face becoming slightly hot. The usually valiant-looking Flame Fairy looked extremely enchanting at this moment. Lin Dong leaned against some of the rubble. His chest rose and fell slowly. His somewhat ragged breathing suggested that he was in quite a bad condition currently. Although he successfully broke into the profound death stage during that critical moment previously, he did not have enough time to stabilize his condition. As a result, his level was currently a superficial one. If he was careless, there was a good chance that he might slip back into the profound life stage. Big brother Lin Dong, you alright? Mu Ling Shan's small and delicate figure appeared beside Lin Dong and asked in a worried tone. Others might be unaware of what Lin Dong did, but she clearly knew. Lin Dong smiled and shook his head. However, his pale expression clearly made it unconvincing. Mu Ling Shan could only pout upon seeing this. However, she did not say anything else. It is indeed worthy of being a Yimo general. It is really difficult to deal with. Lin Dong's eyes looked into the distant light pillar prison before he involuntarily sighed. A joyous pride surged into his heart. That was equivalent to an ultimate samsara stage expert. Back at the unique Devil City, Ancestor Fen Tian had sacrificed his life in order to seal an Yimo general. Now, he had also accomplished a similar feat. Although a huge part must be attributed to the fact that the Flame Divine Hall poured in all their strength, it was also obvious that Lin Dong played an important role. Moreover, Lin Dong also believed that one day, he would be able to suppress and seal a terrifying opponent like that on his own. A brilliant figure came rushing over in the sky while Lin Dong was feeling emotional in his heart. After which, the figure landed beside him. The latter's pretty eyes shot towards Lin Dong and appeared unusually gentle. It was a far cry from the valiant demeanor that she usually carried. Why? With so many responsibilities, can you afford to step away? Lin Dong looked at Tang Xinlian and laughed. Currently, the strength of the Flame Divine Hall is exhausted. There is no longer a need to do anything. It is fine to leave it to the elders. Tang Xinlian pushed aside the red hair that fell in front of her breast and softly said, "Thank you very much. I am the owner of an ancestral symbol and I am natural enemies with these Yimo." Lin Dong shook his head and laughed. Moreover, it is too early to thank me now. We have merely sealed a Yimo general. There are still 2 Yimo generals and an even more terrifying Yimo king remaining. That is nothing that we can do. Tang Xinlian said somewhat helplessly. Just dealing with an Yimo general had exhausted all their strength. As of now, they are unable to summon any more strength to intervene in any other battleground. Lin Dong nodded. Currently, he no longer possessed any strength after experiencing that big battle from before. How the situation plays out depends entirely on Master and Elder Qingxi. Tang Xinlian lifted her head. Her bright eyes looked towards the battle in the distant sky and muttered. "Ha ha, King Qianming, it seems like your side is the first to lose a fight." Qingxi glanced at the ground from the distant sky and laughed. The smile originally on distant King Qianming's face had diminished greatly. It was likely that he had not expected General Lang Mo to be defeated by the Flame Divine Hall. It seems like this king has underestimated your Flame Divine Hall. Mo Luo parted his lips into a smile. He stared at King Qianming in a malicious manner and said, "Relax, just capturing an Yimo general alone cannot satisfy us. I am indeed unable to defeat the both of you together. However, do you think that you can stop me if I want to leave?" King Qianming laughed. His laughter was filled with ridicule. "I'm afraid that it is not going to be a simple feat for you to leave today." Qingxi laughed. King Qianming narrowed his eyes. He laughed coldly and said, "Qingxi, you might have advanced into the reincarnation stage, but who do you think you are? One of the 8 masters from the ancient times? It is likely that those people are all caught up in their reincarnation." Qingxi smiled slightly. The long hair on his back was scattered. His eyes gradually became bright and clear. The 100,000 feet large green dragon under his feet roared towards the sky. Green light spread and turned into a green light plate that was hundreds of thousands of feet in size. The entire world dimmed when the green light plate was scattered. The land became completely charred black and it seemed like the natural Yuan power vaguely began to rage. Mu Lan and Elder Kai Yun in the sky, who were fighting with the 2 other Yimo generals, also halted. This was because the 100,000 feet large green light plate had also enveloped them. "Is this?" Kai Yun frowned. Mu Lan's eyes were narrowed. As if he seemed to have recalled something, the expression in his eyes changed. Qingji stepped on the 100,000 feet large light plate under his feet and smiled towards King Qianming in the distance. He said, "King Qianming, may I know if you have heard of this item?" "What?" King Qianming looked at the hundreds of thousands of feet large green light plate and asked in a faint voice. "King destroying heavenly plate." King Qianming's eyes shrunk abruptly before the space behind him exploded apart. It was the first time his expression changed this quickly. Clearly, he felt genuine danger from this so-called king-destroying heavenly plate that Qingji mentioned. The sixth-ranked item on the ancient divine item list, king-destroying heavenly plate. Mo Luo was startled at this moment. Clearly, even he did not know about this. "Yes. I have searched for many years before I finally found it in an ancient battlefield." Qingji nodded and laughed. Joy surged within Mo Luo's eyes. This king-destroying heavenly plate was a terrifying divine object even in the ancient times. After all, it had genuinely killed king-rank Yimos before. However, Mo Luo suddenly thought of something as he frowned and said, "Based on what I know, in order to use the king-destroying heavenly plate to kill an Yimo king, it will require, for ancestral symbols, enchanting it." Qingji smiled and nodded. "However, on our side, there are only 3 ancestral symbols even if we include the 2 ancestral symbol with Lin Dong." Qingji shook his head. He stared at Mo Luo's hand and smiled. He said, "No, we have 4 of them." 4? Mo Luo was startled. He was in disbelief as he stared at a smiling Qingji. He involuntarily exclaimed, "Does that mean that you have obtained an ancestral symbol as well? However, why can't I detect it? There are only 8 ancestral symbols in this world. How can it be so easy to obtain one? Moreover, it is also no easy feat for an ancestral symbol to acknowledge you as its owner. Not everyone can become the owner of one. Do you think that everyone is as lucky as you or Lin Dong?" Qingji helplessly shook his head and said. Then, Mo Luo frowned. Just who had the 4th ancestral symbol? 2 light figures rushed over from the area below. Mu Lan and Elder Kai Yun appeared beside the Qingji duo. Mu Lan glanced at this enormous light plate that enveloped the sky. He hesitated for a moment before asking, "You going to use that thing?" "Millimeter, the Yimo King is their strongest warrior. Since we have met one, we must definitely kill it." Qingji's eyes narrowed. An extremely sharp murderous intent flashed across his eyes. However, it is rumored that this king-destroying heavenly plate needs to be enchanted with 4 ancestral symbols in order to be able to kill a Yimo king. Elder Kai Yun spoke in a somewhat hesitant manner. This divine object was created by the symbol ancestor. Back then, the world experienced a great calamity. The symbol ancestor used the 8 great ancestral symbols to enchant the king-destroying heavenly plate. After which, the light plate covered the land and killed 8 Yimo kings in one fell swoop. Qingji smiled. He quickly looked towards Mu Lan and said, "We will need to ask Brother Mu Lan for the 4th ancestral symbol." Mo Luo and Elder Kai Yun were startled. Their eyes were promptly thrown towards Mu Lan. The latter's expression was complicated as he sighed and looked at the ground below. There was a delicate figure located at that spot. "My immortal sage whale does indeed have an ancestral symbol." Mo Luo duo revealed a startled expression upon hearing these words. It was likely that this was the first time that they came to learn of it. "May I know which of the 8 great ancestral symbol does the immortal sage whale clan possess?" Mo Luo spoke in a deep voice. Mu Lan was quiet. He softly said, "Life-death ancestral symbol." Mo Luo's eyes shrunk. His voice carried a little shock, "The life-death ancestral symbol that allow its owner to live forever. The symbol that will never be destroyed. There is nothing that truly lives forever in this world. Even someone as powerful as the symbol ancestor eventually disappeared from this world. Hence, even less need to be said of an ancestral symbol that was created in this world." Mu Lan laughed bitterly. "The Life-Death Master, who was one of the 8 great ancestral symbol owners, is an ancestor of our immortal sage whale clan. She died from serious injury back then." My clan placed her corpse at the deepest part of the chaotic demon sea. When we cleaned her tomb 100 years ago, we discovered a glowing light emitted from it. Then, our clan found a black and white light egg. Moreover, the body of the ancestor had also disappeared along with the life-death ancestral symbol. Mu Lan's eyes stared at the delicate small figure on the ground and said, after which, the egg was secretly taken care of by our clan and a little girl eventually emerged from it. Mo Luo inhaled a breath of cool air and asked, is it that girl, Mu Ling Shan? I? Mu Lan nodded. This, Elder Kai Yun widened his mouth. He asked hesitantly, is that girl your immortal sage whale clan's ancestor or the life-death ancestral symbol? Mu Lan smiled bitterly. His expression was uncertain. She should be the life-death ancestral symbol. Standing beside him, Qingji said. He glanced at Mu Lan and continued, back then, the life-death master was far too seriously wounded. Even though she tried to reincarnate, she failed to do so. Hence, the life-death master should have completely disappeared from this world. Mu Ling Shan, who was born from the light egg, should be the actual life-death ancestral symbol. An ancestral symbol? How did it become a human? Elder Kai Yun asked incredulously. Every ancestral symbol has a spirit. However, it is indeed rare that an ancestral symbol would appear in human form. Moreover, even Mu Ling Shan herself does not know that she is the life-death ancestral symbol. Although our ancestor has died, she clearly had a mysterious connection with the life-death mysterious symbol. It is precisely this connection that led to Mu Ling Shan's birth. Mu Lan explained. Currently, Mu Ling Shan possessed the body of our immortal sage whale clan, while being the life-death ancestral symbol at the same time. This mutation is the first of its kind in the world. Mo Luo was amazed as he nodded. It was likely that he did not expect the life-death ancestral symbol to hold such a secret. Mo Chen fondled his chin and said, in that case, it explains why that girl is so close to Lin Dong. It is likely because of his devouring ancestral symbol. Qingji smiled and said, it is rumored that when the 8 great ancestral symbols were born during the ancient times, the life-death ancestral symbol was the last to appear. As it was small and weak, the devouring ancestral symbol swallowed it into its body and provided it with energy. Only after the life-death ancestral symbol grew up, did it leave the devouring ancestral symbol. Elder Kai Yun's old face appeared quite strange. Why did it appear as though the devouring ancestral symbol was pregnant with the life-death ancestral symbol? Just what was the relationship between the two? Mu Lan laughed bitterly. The relationship between the ancestor of my clan, the life-death master, and that of the devouring master was fairly awkward during the ancient times. As the owner of an ancestral symbol, one would more or less be influenced by it. Mo Luo nodded. He understood this quite well, given that he was also an owner of an ancestral symbol. However, word of this must not spread. Although Ling Shan is the life-death ancestral symbol, she has yet to awaken her true strength. Thus, if the Yimo comes to learn of it, things would end up becoming quite troublesome. Relax, activating the king-destroying heavenly plate will only require the enchantment of 4 ancestral symbols. There is no need to activate their strength. Moreover, I will also use my reincarnation strength to set up a disturbance. Hence, no one other than me will know. Qingji said. Mu Lan nodded after hearing this. Qingji stopped speaking after the explanation came to an end. He waved his hand before the green light plate, that covered the world, began to slowly rotate. The light plate was like an endless sea surface. Green light rose and a ripple that could seemingly destroy the world stealthily gathered. King Qianming and the other 2 Yimo generals on the other side of the light plate stared at this scene with grave expressions. It was clear that the name King-destroying heavenly plate had quite a strong deterring effect on them. Humph, the king-destroying heavenly plate might be powerful, but it requires the enchantment of ancestral symbols. There is only one blazing ancestral symbol here. You must be dreaming if you want to kill me. Demonic chi surged within King Qianming's eyes. Slowly spreading the pair of demonic wings on his back, his purple-gold lines spread and blotted out the sun. In the distance, Qingji clenched his hand. The hundreds of thousand feet large green light plate suddenly trembled gently. Layers of green light withdrew from the middle of the light plate before a green light ray suddenly shot out. Finally, it transformed into a palm-sized green jade plate. The jade plate was like the full moon, it was crystal clear and beautiful. Mo Luo. Qingji's eyes looked at Mo Luo the moment the green jade plate appeared. The latter nodded solemnly. The flame symbol on his brow suddenly burned before bright red flames penetrated through the sky and shot onto the green jade plate. There was a mysterious line on the green jade plate as the light of the flame shone. A mysterious symbol quietly appeared. You dare to call it the King Destroyer with just the enchantment of a single blazing ancestral symbol. King Qianming laughed coldly when he saw this scene. Qingji completely ignored his cold laughter. Slowly shutting both his eyes, an invisible ripple quietly spread from the green jade plate. Seated within the city rubles below, Lin Dong lifted his head to look at the green light plate enveloping the sky. The scene within was completely isolated and no one was able to see what was going on. Meanwhile, the surrounding sky also became extremely dark and it seemed as if all light had vanished at the moment. Lifting his head to look at the sky, Lin Dong's eyes suddenly hardened. He could detect a special ripple being suddenly emitted from within the space itself. Subsequently, it wrapped around him. The two ancestral symbols within his body emitted a slight tremor after he was wrapped by the ripple. Lin Dong, relax. I am borrowing the strength of your ancestral symbols to kill King Qianming. Qingji's voice suddenly resounded beside Lin Dong's ears as his expression was altered. This led him to quietly sigh in relief. Next, he relaxed the suppression he had placed on the ancestral symbols within his body. A black light and a thunderbolt suddenly whizzed out from his body after Lin Dong stopped resisting. After which, they disappeared in a flash. Truly powerful. Lin Dong involuntarily let out a praise upon seeing this. He could sense that the thunderbolt ancestral symbol within his body and the devouring ancestral symbol had weakened tremendously at this moment. Clearly, their energy were being extracted from them. Lin Dong suddenly sensed a strange fluctuation appearing beside him while he praised. He hurriedly turned his head and was shocked to find Mu Ling Shan's small body suddenly emitting a strange black and white light. Big brother Lin Dong. Elder Qingji says that he wants to borrow my powers. Fatigue seemed to have surged within Mu Ling Shan's large eyes at this moment. Her body staggered and she actually fell towards Lin Dong after uttering those words. The latter hurriedly caught her upon seeing this. However, Lin Dong's expression changed drastically when his hand touched Mu Ling Shan's body, which was emitting a black and white light. This was because he detected a surging and indescribably pure energy crazily rushing into his body like floodwater. The energy was filled with pure life-death qi. These two completely different energies were perfectly merged together. Lin Dong was a little stunned as he stared at Mu Ling Shan, who had fell into his embrace. His body, which was exhausted of yuan power, was once again filled with energy. This incomparably pure life-death qi was actually being transmitted from within Mu Ling Shan's body. Moreover, what puzzled him the most was that the energy within her body did not discriminate against him. Is this? A confused Lin Dong held Mu Ling Shan's delicate and soft body. He lowered his head to look at her exquisite small face. His eyes shrunk a moment later. He could see a black and white symbol slowly appearing on Mu Ling Shan's forehead. He knew that symbol. This was because it was one of the 8 great ancestral symbols. Life-death ancestral symbol. Life-death ancestral symbol. Lin Dong was a little lost as he stared at the black and white light symbol on Mu Ling Shan's smooth forehead. The symbol was as ancient as the devouring ancestral symbol and the thunderbolt ancestral symbol. A unique ripple was vaguely emitted from it and Lin Dong could detect a surge in the yuan power within his body, just by absorbing a bit of this ripple. Inside Ling Shan's body hides an ancestral symbol. After a while, Lin Dong finally recovered his senses. Promptly, he was at a loss for words. When he first met Mu Ling Shan back then, he vaguely sensed an unusual movement from his devouring ancestral symbol. This unusual sensation was clearly caused by the latter. At that time, Lin Dong guessed that Mu Ling Shan might be related to the devouring ancestral symbol. However, He did not expect that one of the 8 great ancestral symbols, the life-death ancestral symbol, was actually hidden within her body. It is actually the life-death ancestral symbol. A voice of sudden comprehension suddenly sounded within Lin Dong's heart as he sighed. It was Yang, who had been missing for quite a while. "You are still alive?" Lin Dong was a little unhappy at this fellow, who occasionally disappeared. He spoke somewhat rudely after seeing this person appear. After all, he did not show himself when Lin Dong was undergoing many deadly fights previously. Only after these threats were neutralized did he finally show up. "The ancestral stone is gradually recovering and I will occasionally fall into a slumber." "Ha ha. Isn't it good to rely on your own strength?" Yang laughed. Lin Dong rolled his eyes. He had already been at death's door countless number of times alone today. This fellow was truly shameless. That girl is not an owner of an ancestral symbol. Lin Dong was startled. The symbol on Mu Ling Shan's head was indeed that of the life-death ancestral symbol. The life-death ancestral symbol is her true form. It's no wonder even I did not discover her identity back then. It is actually because of this unique mutation. Yang sighed in amazement. Ling Shan is the life-death ancestral symbol? How is that possible? Lin Dong shrunk his eyes. Even with his calm temperament, there was still a look of disbelief surging onto his face. The process is quite complicated, but it is the truth. It's no wonder she chose to run off with you back then. It is because she is the life-death ancestral symbol. Yang said. Immediately, he saw the doubt on Lin Dong's face and he began to explain the relationship between the devouring ancestral symbol and the life-death ancestral symbol. Lin Dong's expression became a little interesting after hearing the explanation. He laughed dryly, putting it this way, it seems like the devouring ancestral symbol is the parent of the life-death ancestral symbol. From the point of view of you humans, it can be considered as such. During the ancient times, the relationship between the life-death master and the devouring master was a little complicated due to this. As if he seemed to have recalled something, Yang's voice became a little strange. Lin Dong parted his lips. He rubbed Mu Ling Shan's small head with his hand. Even though this matter was quite shocking, he still chose to accept it. It didn't matter what Mu Ling Shan was, as long as she stays as the lively and cute little girl that Lin Dong knew. "It has only been a short while since I was gone, but you have already met an Yimo of this level. King rank Yimo. It has been many years since I have met one." Yang seemed to have detected the activity in this place as he slowly said. "1 king rank Yimo and 3 general rank Yimo. This lineup is quite frightening." Lin Dong laughed bitterly. "There is no need to worry. Qingji can deal with them. I can sense the ripple of the king destroying heavenly plate. Coincidentally, there are 4 ancestral symbols present in this place. With the enchantment of the ancestral symbols, it is possible to kill an Yimo king." Yang said. "King destroying heavenly plate? It is a divine item ranked 6th on the ancient divine object ranking list. It is extremely powerful and has killed many Yimo kings before." Lin Dong was quietly speechless. It seems like Qingji truly came prepared. However, he was really curious to find out how terrifying a divine object that could kill an Yimo king was when it was fully unleashed. Although Lin Dong knew that the ancestral stone within his body was of a higher rank at the 2nd position, this fellow was far too seriously wounded. Hence, it was still unable to unleash its glory from the ancient times even up till now. Since the king destroying heavenly plate has appeared, it is likely that this battle is already decided. The Yimo king will not be able to block it. Hence, there is no need to worry. Lin Dong smiled bitterly. It was pointless for him to worry about a fight at that level. Now, all he could do was hope that the truth was like what Yang said, and that Elder Qingji would be able to finish off that Yimo king. Otherwise, none of them here would be able to escape. The green-colored light plate in the distant sky separated the sky and land. Qingji's group stood on the light plate. Meanwhile, above him, there was a green jade plate slowly rotating. A smile suddenly rose on his face as he gently clenched his long hand. After he clenched his hand, it was possible to see the 100,000 feet large green light plate shaking suddenly. 3 light shot towards the sky and shot onto the green jade plate. The jade plate suddenly shook intensely after the 3 light rays shot into the green jade plate. The obscure symbol on the jade plate became increasingly clear and covered the entire jade plate. The jade plate became increasingly crystal clear after the obscure symbol covered it. The space around it became distorted and was shattered. Many slight ripples that were visible to the naked eyes were emitted, causing the entire place to shake. King Destroyer symbol. King Qianming, who had been observing the activity of this place, saw the gradually surfacing obscure symbol on the jade plate. His expression changed drastically as he involuntarily roared, "How is this possible? Qingji, it seems like you are well prepared. You are actually able to allow this king-destroying heavenly plate to receive the enchantment of 4 ancestral symbols." Qingji smilingly looked at King Qianming, whose expression had finally changed. He said, "It is rare for a king-rank Yimo to appear. Naturally, I must treat you well. Retreat." King Qianming's expression changed rapidly. He was decisive as he immediately let out a roar. The 2 Yimo generals hurriedly nodded after hearing his cry. Even with their great strength, they could sense the feeling of death from the crystal-clear green jade plate. The fluctuation it emitted could truly destroy them. Monstrous demonic aura swept out from the bodies of King Qianming's trio. After which, they flapped their wings and the space behind them was split apart. Trying to escape. Mo Luo laughed coldly upon seeing this. Bright redness rose on his face. He grabbed with his large hand before endless bright red flames whistled out from it. They quickly turned into a rolling sea of flames that swept towards the King Qianming trio, forcing them to have no choice but to withdraw. Qingji's expression was calm. As he stared at the beautiful green jade plate, both his hands formed a series of dazzling seals. Following which, the green light plate began to tremble slowly. It started to shift before it locked onto the King Qianming trio in the distance. "King destroying heavenly plate, King destruction." A faint voice was emitted from Qingji's mouth. In an instant, sharp and murderous intent spread across the sky. The green jade plate shook intensely. Partially visible symbols wiggled like earthworms on the plate. Layers after layers of terrifying strength quickly accumulated at the middle of the jade plate. In the next moment, the jade plate trembled. A human head-sized crystal light beam erupted from it. That beam of light appeared extremely brilliant and it looked as though it was a viscous jade liquid. No sound was made wherever it passed and not even the slightest ripple was formed in the air. However, horror rose on King Qianming's face when he saw that light beam. The light ray did not seem fast. However, King Qianming was aware that there was no way he could dodge it. A demon would be slayed when the king-destroying heavenly plate appeared. King Qianming's expression changed drastically. His face was filled with a venomous expression. Both his hands were extended as he directly grabbed the 2 Yimo generals beside him. After which, a demonic aura surged as he slammed his palm forward. A shocked expression rose on the faces of the 2 Yimo generals. However, even before they could try to escape, a brilliant green light ray had already descended. Finally, one could hear a faint splash sound. They sensed the pain on their brow before the green jade-like liquid light beam penetrated their heads. Blood flowed out from their brow. The monstrous-like demonic aura on the bodies of the 2 great Yimo generals crazily vanished. Everything within their bodies was completely destroyed when the jade liquid light beam penetrated their bodies. An aura of death enveloped them. Soon after, cracks began to appear on their faces and expanded an inch at a time. The 2 great Yimo generals were killed in such a simple fashion because of that tiny light beam. After he pushed 2 of his subordinates to their death, there was not the least amount of grief on King Qianming's face. His eyes were sinister as he looked at the 2 cracked bodies in front of him. The green light beam at that spot continued to fly towards him without a drop in speed, even after penetrating through their bodies. "Qingji, it is not so easy to kill me." King Qianming roared towards the sky. His hair was scattered and he no longer looked as calm as before. The huge purple-gold demonic wings on his back were extended. Monstrous aura blotted out the sun as a mouthful of blood containing a golden color was spat out. 10-layer hell miasma. The golden blood suddenly exploded and an extremely evil demonic aura spread. Finally, the space itself exploded. One could hear a loud boom as 10 black hell gates appeared in front of King Qianming, one in front of the other. Bang, bang, bang. The green light beam continued to shoot forward at the same speed. The evil hell gate exploded one after another as the green light passed. King Qianming, accept your punishment. This world does not belong to your people. Qing Shi's eyes gradually turned icy. Suddenly, he clenched his hand before the final hell gate in front of King Qianming blew apart at this moment. Demonic aura spread while the jade liquid-like green light beam penetrated through it. It arrived rapidly in front of King Qianming's startled eyes before it finally whizzed through his heart. Boom! King Qianming's body suddenly froze while his monstrous demonic aura also began to weaken at a shocking speed. This video will end here.